Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so we're diving into the sources you sent over bits from the Google I/O keynote transcript and that summary video. We want to get past the marketing hype. Our mission here is to figure out what's really significant, what the actual key advancements are, and maybe find those hidden aha moments that show how this tech might genuinely impact your world.
Yeah, and they covered a lot of ground. I mean, from the basic AI models they're building all the way up to how that stuff shows up in hardware glasses even, and how it threads through basically every product they have. It's really their roadmap for where they see AI going.
Okay, let's unpack it. Sundar Pichai kicked off, setting the scene for this Gemini era, as he called it. He really stressed this big shift in how fast they're taking research breakthroughs and actually putting them into models people can use. He even mentioned things like shipping their smartest model just well on a random Tuesday, or dropping a big research paper like AlphaEvolve like a week before the event. It really sounds like they've shifted gears.
It's interesting, right? Because it points to a real change in how they develop things. They even showed this visually, like a step function jump in what the models can do. The speed is just, well, it's incredible. Just since the first Gemini Pro, they've seen ELO scores leap over 300 points.
ELO scores,
Yeah.
like in chess. What does that actually mean when we talk about AI models?
Exactly like chess, yeah. It's basically a system to rank how models perform against each other on different tasks. And a 300-point jump, that's a massive leap. It means it's qualitatively better, smarter across a whole range of difficult tests. And Gemini 2.5 Pro, it didn't just get better, they said it actually swept the El Marino leaderboards.
Swept the leaderboards. Okay, sounds good, but what is El Marino? What's it actually testing?
Think of it as a live arena where different AI models go head-to-head on real-world problems, judged blindly. So sweeping it means 2.5 Pro basically came out top across the board for large language models. But it wasn't just general smarts. They also talked about big jumps in coding ability.
Coding. How much better did it get there?
Well, the updated 2.5 Pro is now #1 on Web Dev Arena. That's a benchmark specifically for web development stuff. And crucially, they said it beat the last version of Gemini Pro by 140 ELO points just in coding. And this isn't just theory, right? It's actually happening out there. They pointed to it being used on coding platforms like Cursor, generating, they said, hundreds of thousands of lines of accepted code every minute. That's, real impact.
And then there was that slightly more fun benchmark, Gemini completing Pokemon Blue.
Yeah, navigating the whole game world, getting all the badges, beating the Elite Four, the whole thing. It sounds a bit like a gimmick, maybe, but it's actually a really complex environment. It needs planning, memory, understanding rules, adapting. It shows a different kind of reasoning beyond just language.
Okay, so the models are definitely getting smarter and faster. What's actually making this speed and scale possible?
Right. That brings us to the infrastructure side. They introduced their 7th-gen TPU called Ironwood, and this is apparently the first one they've designed specifically for thinking and inference at scale.
Ironwood. Yeah, sounds serious.
It seems to be. They're claiming 10x the performance of the last gen, packing, get this, 42.5 exaflops of compute in each pod.
Okay, 42.5 exaflops per pod. That's just a massive number. For someone like me, not a data center expert, what does that kind of compute power actually let them do?
Well, think of an exaflop as a billion calculations per second. So 42.5 of those in one pod is just an absolutely immense amount of power. It's the kind of muscle you need to run these huge, complex models efficiently, lets them run faster, and importantly, at better price points, which is key if you want everyone to use them. And they said Google Cloud customers get access later this year.
And are people really using this stuff at that kind of scale already? That token number they threw out was just kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, the adoption figures are maybe the most striking part of the whole keynote. Last year, they said they were processing about 9.7 trillion tokens a month across everything. Now, it's 480 trillion tokens monthly.
Well, hang on. Say that again. 480 trillion.
Trillion, yeah. That's roughly a 50 times increase in 1 year. That's not just growth, that's a fundamental change in scale. It really tells you how fast AI is getting woven into everything they do.
50x in a year. That feels less like things are evolving and more like they're, exploding.
It really does feel like that. And it's across the board. Over 7 million developers are building with the Gemini API now. That's 5x growth since last I/O. Usage on Vertex AI, up over 40 times. And in their apps, Gemini now has over 400 million monthly active users. And for people using the 2.5 Pro version specifically, their usage jumped 45%.
And then there's search. That's where the truly enormous numbers are, right?
Absolutely. AI overviews, that's the generative AI answers and search results. They're now used by over 1.5 billion people.
Every month. 1.5 billion users. Okay, that definitely makes Google search the way most people on the planet are experiencing generative AI, doesn't it?
Precisely. And they stress that these AI overviews aren't just useful, they apparently lead to happier users and people actually searching more. So you put all that together, the developer adoption, the user numbers, the pace of the models, the infrastructure, it really does feel like we're in a new phase of this whole AI platform shift. Research is becoming reality globally incredibly quickly.
Okay, big picture. Fast progress. Huge adoption. Let's zoom in on the specific models they talked about. You said 2.5 Pro is their top one.
Yeah, they position 2.5 Pro as their most intelligent foundation model, state-of-the-art on the benchmarks, and now they've integrated Learn NLM. These are models built with education experts, making 2.5 Pro their leading model specifically for learning tasks. They shipped an updated preview recently, and general availability is coming, they said, soon after Flash.
And Flash is the efficient workhorse model.
That's the idea. Gemini Flash is all about speed and low cost, so it's really popular for developers who need something fast and cheap. They announced an updated 2.5 Flash preview that's much better at reasoning, coding, handling long text. It's apparently second only to 2.5 Pro on El Marina now. This updated Flash should be generally available in early June. Previews are out now in AI Studio, Vertex AI, and the Gemini app.
They also mentioned something called Gemini Diffusion, which sounds like it's using image generation ideas for text. That seems unusual.
It is pretty different, yeah. It's an experimental model that uses diffusion techniques like you see in image or video generation, but for text tasks like editing math equations or code. The really interesting bit is the speed. It uses parallel generation, generates bits of text at the same time, making it, they claim, 5x faster than their previous fastest text model, while being just as good at coding. It can even apparently spot and fix errors while it's generating. It's just in testing with a small group for now, kind of pushing the envelope on text generation.
And speaking of pushing envelopes, they announced a new mode for 2.5 Pro, DeepThink.
Right. DeepThink is basically 2.5 Pro pushed to its absolute max using their very latest research, including parallel techniques. And the results they showed were pretty striking, really impressive scores on USAMO 2025, which is known as one of the toughest math competitions out there. It also leads Live Code Bench for coding challenges and does really well on the multimodal benchmark MMMU.
So DeepThink is tackling the really hard stuff. What is leading those particular benchmarks actually tell us about what it can do?
Well, doing well on USAMO suggests really advanced mathematical reasoning. Leading Live Code Bench means it's not just writing code, but solving complex competitive-style programming problems. And doing well in MMMU shows it's got sophisticated understanding across different kinds of data at once, text, images, you name it. Because it's so cutting edge, though, they're starting it off with trusted testers via the API first. Need to do proper safety checks and get expert feedback.
Makes sense for that kind of frontier tech. Okay, so we've got smarter models. Now, how about making them do things? This is where agentic capabilities come in, right? What does that mean exactly?
So agents are basically systems built on these advanced AI models, but crucially, they have access to tools. That lets them actually take actions for you, like in the digital world or even connecting to the real world, but always under your control. A key part of this is what they call computer use. The AI being able to interact with websites, browsers, software, kind of like a person would. Project Mariner was an early version of this they showed back in December.
And they've pushed Project Mariner quite a bit further now.
Yeah, two big leaps they highlighted. First, multitasking so the agent can handle up to 10 different tasks going on at the same time. And second, teach and repeat. You basically show the agent how to do something complex once, and it learns a plan it can use to do similar things later. These computer use abilities building on Mariner are coming for developers through the Gemini API this summer. Trusted testers are already playing with it.
Is this feeding into a bigger picture of how these AI agents might work together?
Definitely. It's all about building a whole agent ecosystem. They mentioned open agent-to-agent protocols that was launched at Cloud Next with like 60-plus partners letting different agents from different companies talk to each other. They also flagged Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, or MCP, for agents accessing services, and said the Gemini SDK now works with MCP tools. You need this kind of plumbing for agents to be useful across all the different apps and services we use.
So how does this agent stuff actually reach us, the users? Is the Gemini app the main way?
The Gemini app is definitely the key place for consumers. They're rolling out something called agent mode in the app. The demo showed using it to, say, find an apartment. You tell it your budget, neighborhood, what you need for you and your roommates. And agent mode, using Mariner and MCP tech behind the scenes, goes off and browses Zillow, filters things, pulls up details, can even try to schedule tours for you. And it can keep looking for new listings automatically. The idea is to take away all that tedious scrolling and coordinating. An experimental version is coming for subscribers soon.
That really does feel like a step towards an assistant that, does more than just answer questions. It actually does things. What's the end goal for the Gemini app?
The end goal is, well, pretty ambitious. They want to turn the Gemini app into a genuinely universal AI assistant. Something personal, proactive, really powerful. They talked about working towards a world model, an AI that can simulate, plan, even imagine. This builds right on the capabilities they showed in that Project Astra research prototype, the advanced video understanding, screen sharing, and memory across interactions.
Right, and we saw that Astra prototype demo. The bike
Yeah.
repair one was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was a great example of what they're aiming for. The assistant, using the phone's camera and screen sharing, could follow along as the user asked it to, like go online, find a specific bit in a manual, then search YouTube for a how-to video, then check the user's email for a part size. It even called a bike shop to check if they had the part, then went back to the manual. It showed it understanding the physical world via the camera, controlling digital stuff via screen sharing, remembering things across different steps, accessing personal info with permission, obviously. They even had it show examples of dog baskets just because the user mentioned their dog.
So it's really moving beyond just Q&A to actively helping with complex multi-step things that span digital and physical worlds.
Exactly. The potential is an assistant that handles everyday chores, manages boring admin, suggests things proactively, freeing you up, making you more productive, maybe enriching your life. And these kinds of capabilities from Astra and Agent Mode, they're coming to Gemini Live, to new search experiences, the Live API, and even new things like Android XR glasses.
Okay, let's dig into some of those specific products and features. Starting with video calls, they showed some pretty futuristic 3D tech.
Yeah, that's Project Starline. They first showed it a few years back. The goal is making remote chats feel like you're really in the room together. Now they've introduced Google Beam, which is a new AI platform built on that Starline tech. It uses an array of 6 cameras, AI merges the video streams, and renders it on a special 3D light field display. It apparently has almost perfect head tracking so you maintain eye contact. It's all about making conversation feel more natural and immersive. The first devices using Beam, made with HP, are expected later this year.
Bringing that tech into core products like Meet makes sense. What about real-time translation improvements?
They're using some of that underlying Starline tech to make real-time speech translation in Google Meet much better. The demo showed a booking conversation, Spanish and English speakers, and the translation wasn't just accurate word for word, it actually matched the speaker's tone, their speech patterns, even expressions. It made the cross-language chat feel much more natural. That's rolling out in Meet for subscribers now, just English, Spanish to start, more languages coming, enterprises get it later this year.
And Gemini Live, the conversational AI in the app, that's getting a big upgrade too.
Yeah, Gemini Live is getting those Project Astra features, specifically camera and screen sharing, so you can literally just hold up your phone and talk to Gemini about whatever you're looking at. They said it's rolling out free on Android and iOS starting today, works in over 45 languages across 150 plus countries, and apparently people are already having conversations 5 times longer than text chats, and looking ahead, they're plugging it into calendar, maps, keep, tasks, so you could point your camera at a shopping list you scribble down and ask Gemini Live to add it to keep.
That leads nicely into personalization. You talked about personal context.
Right. Personal context is basically letting Gemini models use relevant info from your other Google apps, emails, docs, notes, calendar to give you more tailored, helpful answers. The really crucial thing they kept stressing is that this only happens with your explicit permission, it's kept private, it's transparent, and you're always in control.
Can you give an example? Like, how would that work in Gmail?
Yeah, the Gmail example was personalized smart replies. So instead of just generic suggestions, Gemini could look at, say, your notes, your documents, or past emails, maybe your calendar, and craft replies that actually sound like you. They showed it matching the user's usual tone, greeting style, even using their favorite words like exciting. That's coming to Gmail this summer for subscribers.
And this personal context idea is coming to search as well.
Yes, into AI mode in search. Based on your past searches or maybe connected apps like Gmail or Calendar again, only if you allow it. Search can give you personalized suggestions. Like, if you often book restaurants with outdoor seating, it might highlight those when you search, or suggest art exhibits that line up with dates you've got free in your calendar from emails. It's opt-in, you control the data. Also coming this summer.
Okay, speaking of search, they talked about a profound shift in how people are using it. What does that mean?
It means people are asking much longer, harder, more complex questions now. Things that aren't easy to answer with just a few keywords. And that shift is really driving this big transformation in search we're seeing. They mentioned AI overviews, again, 1.5 billion users monthly, and said it's not just answering questions, it's actually increasing how much people search overall. And it's boosting Google Lens too. Lens now has 1.5 billion monthly users. Visual searches up 65% year over year. And AI overviews are now powered by Gemini 2.5 for better quality, accuracy, and speed.
And AI mode is that total reimagining of search you mentioned.
That's the term they used, yeah. AI mode is this whole new search experience running on Gemini 2.5, built specifically for those complex multi-part questions queries, often 2 or 3 times longer than usual. It started rolling out today in the US. You can find it as a new tab in search or get to it from the search bar. They kind of framed it as a preview of the future where these advanced features will eventually just become part of the main search experience for everyone.
So how does AI mode actually handle a really complicated question all in one go?
They explain this technique called query fanout. So you ask a complex question, search recognizes it's complex, calls up a custom Gemini model, which then breaks your question down into lots of smaller sub-questions. Then it fires off a whole bunch of searches simultaneously across the web. Google's own data, like the knowledge graph, shopping graph, local info, whatever's relevant. It checks its own work, maybe runs more searches if needed, and then pulls all that information together super fast into one comprehensive answer. The key is you get everything from just one search.
And there are even more powerful research tools within this AI mode.
Yeah, in AI Mode Labs, they've got something called Deep Search. This basically dials up query fan out even more, maybe dozens or even hundreds of searches. This lets it reason across a huge amount of information to generate these really detailed, expert-level reports on complex topics, fully cited with links, all in just minutes.
They also showed it handling structured data, right? Analyzing sports stats.
Yeah, that's part of the complex analysis and data visualization features in AI mode. The demo was asking for stats average, OBP, home runs for specific players who used torpedo bats. Search understood the whole complex query, even the obscure bat reference, pulled real-time sports data, and presented it in a nice interactive table and graph. That feature for sports and financial questions is coming this summer.
And the agent stuff we talked about, getting AI to act for you, that's built into search now too.
Absolutely. They introduced agentic checkout in AI mode. This brings that Project Mariner ability to interact with websites right into search. The demo was buying tickets, ask for 2 cheap Reds tickets for Saturday, lower level. Search uses query fanout to check hundreds of options on different sites, fills out the search forms on those sites automatically, analyzes the results, and gives you a link straight to the checkout page. That's coming soon for things like tickets, restaurant bookings, scheduling local services.
And search is also getting Astra's ability to see through the camera.
Yes, that's Search Live in AI mode. Brings Astra's live, real-time capabilities right into search.
Yeah.
Use your phone camera. The demos were really cool. Getting help with the science experiment just by showing the stuff, checking strawberry ripeness, troubleshooting a remote, identifying plants, getting stain removal help, identifying a band and venue from a photo wall, finding a mic stand, identifying a coffee shop from a logo on a cup, getting walking directions overlaid on your view with a 3D map as you walk, sending a calendar invite based on what you're looking at. It's basically like having a video call with Search where it sees what you see hands-free.
Visual shopping also seems to be getting a major upgrade.
Definitely. Visual shopping in AI mode combines Google Images with their shopping graph that's got over 50 billion product listings. The demo showed asking for a rug for a light gray couch to brighten the room. It generated this dynamic mosaic of shoppable rug images. Then they added a constraint for active kids, and Search recommended durable, washable, low-pile options, even pointing out things to think about.
And that virtual try-on feature. Upload my photo and see clothes on me. That sounds pretty advanced.
Yeah, they said it's state-of-the-art at scale. The try-on feature uses a custom image generation model trained specifically for fashion, plus advanced 3D shape understanding. You upload a full-length photo, and it shows how the fabric of a shirt or dress would actually fold, stretch, and drape on your body shape, rolling out in the coming months, but it's in labs today.
Plus price tracking and a checkout agent.
Yep. Within visual shopping, you can track prices on items, get alerts if they drop, and the checkout agent can add stuff to your cart, guide you through buying it, even do one-tap checkout with Google Pay. Those are coming in the next few months, too.
Okay, moving away from search and personal help.
Yeah.
What about tools for creators?
Yeah, empowering creativity was definitely a focus. They mentioned Lyria 2, their generative music model. It's designed for really high-quality audio pro-level music, sound effects, even expressive vocals. It's available for businesses, YouTube creators, musicians. They quoted Shankara Mahadevan, the Grammy winner, saying their music AI sandbox opens doors to possibilities.
And they're still working on Cynthia for safety and transparency with generated stuff.
Exactly. SynthiD is their invisible watermarking tech. They said over 10 billion things have been watermarked already. Now they've announced a new Synthi detector. It can spot those watermarks in images, audio, text, video, even just parts of it. Rolling out to early testers, it shows they're serious about transparency.
They also showed off a new video generation model.
Yeah, VO3, available today, they said. And a big deal here is native audio generation. So VO can create sound effects, background sounds, even dialogue that matches the video naturally. The demos that Owl and Badger talking, the guy in the boat looked incredibly realistic, both video and audio. Showed good understanding of physics, character movement too.
And they're working with filmmakers to develop VO.
Yes, collaborating with people like Darren Aronofsky, Eliza McNitt, that helps them build features filmmakers actually need. Things like keeping characters and styles consistent across shots using ingredients and allowing really specific camera instructions. Eliza McNitt used VO-generated video mixed with live action in her latest film, Ancestra.
Building on that, they launched an AI filmmaking tool called Flow.
Right, Flow launched today. It's an AI tool for creatives that pulls together VO for video, Imagen for images, and Gemini. The demo showed making this whimsical scene, grandpa, chicken, flying car. It looked easy to upload your own stuff or generate ingredients right there using Imagen. You assemble clips using prompts, control the camera, tweak things in a scene builder, add more shots while keeping it consistent, trim clips. You can even download the files to use in other editing software, maybe add music from Lyria.
The filmmaker comments about using Flow sounded quite poetic.
They did, didn't they? Things like feeling like you're not trying, just doing, or traveling through dimensions. This idea of infinite endings, or creativity blooming like a spontaneous garden. It suggests these tools might not just automate things, but actually unlock new ways of being creative, a different kind of flow.
And Imagen, the image generator, got an update too.
Yes, Imagen 4. It's the latest version in the Gemini app today. They said it makes richer, more detailed images, and it's much better with text and typography, and the image gets spelling right, makes creative font choices. Plus, there's a super fast version now, 10x faster, for really quick iteration.
Now, to get access to some of the really high-end stuff, they announced new subscription plans.
Yeah, they kind of streamline things. There's Google AI Pro, available globally, that gives you the full AI suite, higher usage limits than the free tier, and includes the Gemini app Pro, what used to be Gemini Advanced. Then there's the new top tier, Google AI Ultra. That's US today, global soon. They called it a VIP pass. Highest limits, earliest access to the cutting-edge stuff.
And Ultra is where you get Flow with VO3 right now.
Exactly. Ultra subscribers get Flow with VO3 today. They'll also get the earliest access to things like Gemini 2.5 Pro DeepThink when it's ready. Plus, it bundles in YouTube Premium and a lot more storage.
Okay, shifting from software to hardware. How is AI actually showing up in the devices we carry around? Android seems key here.
Android is definitely where they say the future shows up first. They announced Android 16, Wear OS 6. They emphasize Gemini being accessible just by pressing the power button on phones, understanding the context of what's on your screen, and that's spreading coming to watches, cars, TVs too.
And they introduced Android XR. That's their platform for mixed reality, right?
Yes, Android XR. The first Android platform built for this Gemini era, designed for both immersive headsets and lightweight glasses. Their thinking is, when one size doesn't fit all. Headsets for deep work or games, glasses for quick info on the go. It's built with Samsung, optimized for Qualcomm Snapdragon chips. They actually released a developer preview last year.
So how does Gemini work in that XR environment?
The key idea is the assistant understands your context much better on these devices using the unique hardware. For headsets, they showed Samsung's Project Muhan, the first Android XR device, described it as an infinite screen with Gemini beside you. You could use maps to sort of teleport places in XR, talk about what you're seeing virtually, watch baseball with a stadium view while chatting with Gemini about stats. Muhan's coming later this year.
And those lightweight glasses prototypes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look pretty futuristic.
They really did. Designed for all-day wear, but packed with tech. Camera and mics so Gemini sees and hears your world, speakers, optional little display inside the lens for private info. They work with your phone. It's a really natural way to interact with AI right where you are. The demo backstage showed someone wearing them, Nishta seeing what she saw, coffee, text messages, launching Gemini, handling notifications, identifying stuff on a photo wall, counting crows at shoreline, playing music, identifying a coffee shop from a logo, getting walking directions overlaid on her vision, sending a calendar invite. Sharam even wore them with prescription lenses, used them as a teleprompter, and they pulled off that pretty amazing live demo of chat translation, Hindi and Farsi translated to English, right in the glasses. Risky, but it worked.
So these are actually being tested out there already.
Yeah, trusted testers are using these prototypes now. Google's building the software and reference hardware platform with Samsung to get an ecosystem going, development tools available later this year. And they announced the first eyewear brands building stylish glasses with Android XR, Gentle Monster, and Orbi Parker. So hopefully, designs people actually want to wear.
Okay, lastly, let's zoom out from consumer tech. How did the keynote talk about AI's impact on science and society?
Yeah, this is clearly an area they see huge potential in, especially for speeding up scientific discovery. They mentioned Google DeepMind breakthroughs in math, AlphaProof solving really hard Olympiad problems, tools for research like co-scientists, AlphaVol for AI training, and in life sciences, AME for medical diagnosis, AlphaFold3 predicting how molecules interact, isomorphic labs using AI for drug discovery. AlphaFold alone has been huge. Over 2.5 million researchers use it.
And they link this back to the long-term goal of AGI.
Yes, they basically said they believe artificial general intelligence, done safely and responsibly, could massively accelerate science and be maybe the most beneficial technology ever.
And what about AI helping society right now? Any examples?
Yeah, some powerful ones. FireSat, it's a satellite system plus AI for almost real-time wildfire monitoring. Can spot tiny fires, gets updates every 20 minutes instead of every 12 hours. Huge for response times. Another was disaster relief. Wind drone deliveries partnered with Walmart. Red Cross helped during Hurricane Helene, delivering critical supplies based on what the Red Cross needed on the ground in real time. They're working on scaling that up.
It's really compelling to see AI applied to those kinds of urgent, real-world
It
problems.
really is. It kind of grounds all the abstract research. Shows how the work today could lead to real impact pretty quickly. Maybe breakthroughs in robotics, disease treatments, quantum computing, self-driving cars. Sundar told this nice story about his dad riding in a Waymo and just being amazed. A good reminder that ultimately, technology's power is about inspiring people, moving us forward.
So, okay, we've really dug into the Google I/O sources. We've hit the big leaps in AI Smarts 2.5 Pro, Deep Think, the rise of agents that can do things for you, personal context making AI more relevant, that massive transformation in Search with AI mode and Search Live, cool new creative tools like VO and Flow, the vision for AI and hardware like those XR glasses, and yeah, the potential for science and society. It's clear the pace is just picking up everywhere. Yeah, the sheer scale of adoption they already have, billions of people touching generative AI, combined with the sheer ambition you see in things like universal assistants or world models. It's pretty remarkable. The focus really seems to be on making all this intelligence not just smarter, but actually more accessible and useful in, the real world, everyday life. So here's something to think about. Considering how fast AI is getting better at things like seeing the physical world through cameras, acting across different apps for you, even simulating things, what basic human tasks, things that feel really complex or just tedious today, might AI totally change or maybe even just automate completely in the near future? And if it does, what new kinds of things might that free us up to pursue?